Number 9, the bizarre reason we forget our first years. Ever tried to remember your earliest memories? Like before you were 3 years old? You can't. Maybe a few hazy snippets, a feeling, a single image of a birthday cake, but nothing concrete. This isn't just you being forgetful. It's a bizarre and universal psychological phenomenon called infantile amnesia. We all have it. It's a complete blackout of your early life. A blank space in your brain's hard drive where your first steps, words, and major childhood milestones should be. So what gives? It's not because you were too young to remember. It's because your brain was busy with more important things, like learning how to walk without falling over and understanding what no means. Scientists believe a few things are at play here. First, your memory formation is tied to language development. Without the ability to form a narrative with words, your brain can't properly store and retrieve complex memories. It's like trying to save a document in a file format that hasn't been invented yet. Second, your brain was too busy growing and pruning itself. During those first few years, your brain is a wild, chaotic forest of new connections, and it's constantly cutting down old ones to make way for new, more efficient paths. This process, known as synaptic pruning, is essential for learning and brain development, but it also has the nasty side effect of wiping out your earliest memories. So, while you were busy being cute, your brain was a ruthless, memory-deleting supercomputer. Number 8, the disturbing truth about your childhood photos. You've seen the pictures. You as a toddler, covered in cake. You on a tricycle, with a look of pure joy on your face. You see the evidence of a past life you're supposed to remember, but you can't. Those memories feel like they belong to a stranger. This feeling, that your early life is a collection of borrowed stories and images, is a direct result of infantile amnesia. When you see a picture of yourself at 2 years old, your brain doesn't access a real memory. It constructs a new one. Your brain looks at the photo, listens to the stories your parents have told you 1,000 times, and fabricates a memory to match the facts. This is your brain's way of keeping its internal narrative consistent. It fills in the gaps, creating a convincing illusion of recall. But it's not real. The memory you have of that photo is just a composite, a digital recreation built from external data. It's a testament to how creative and sneaky your brain is. It would rather invent a past for you than admit it can't remember. Number 7, why we forget our first fears. Do you remember the first time you were scared? Not just startled, but truly afraid? Maybe of a monster under the bed, a loud noise, or a creepy clown. Chances are, you don't. This isn't because you were fearless as a toddler. It's because the parts of your brain that process and store emotional memories were still in their infancy. The amygdala, the almond-shaped part of your brain responsible for processing fear and other emotions, doesn't fully mature until later in childhood. This means that while you might have been terrified of a vacuum cleaner as a 2-year-old, your brain couldn't properly encode that fear into a long-term memory. It was just a fleeting, visceral reaction that couldn't stick around. Your brain was focused on figuring out the basic survival stuff, like, this is hot, don't touch. Or, this is a friendly face, this one isn't. The nuances of fear and emotion were still a work in progress. It's a terrifying thought when you consider it. Your brain was experiencing primal fears without the ability to remember them later. It's a memory blackout for some of your most intense emotional experiences. Number 6, the creepy way your brain deletes information. Your brain is a ruthless editor. It's not just that you can't remember being a baby, it's that your brain is designed to actively forget a massive amount of information. Think of it like this. Your brain is a hard drive, but instead of just saving new files, it's constantly deleting old ones to make space. This process is called pruning, and it's what makes us efficient thinkers. Your brain is getting rid of all the useless connections, the dead ends, and the irrelevant data points it doesn't need. When you were a baby, your brain was a messy, chaotic network of 100 billion neurons, all forming wild, disorganized connections. As you grew, your brain began to clean house, deleting the neural pathways it deemed unnecessary. This is why you can't remember things like which sock you put on first as a 2-year-old, or what the pattern on your blanket was. Your brain decided that information was not important, and without asking for your permission, it deleted it. This is happening all the time, not just in childhood. Your brain is a memory-deleting supercomputer, constantly and quietly erasing your past to make you a more efficient adult. Number 5. The sibling who remembers what you don't. Ever had a sibling who remembers a shared childhood event you have no recollection of? They describe it in perfect detail, the colors, the sounds, the smells, and you just stare at them blankly. This is because infantile amnesia is not the same for everyone. The human brain, even in infancy, develops at different rates. Your older sibling, whose memory-forming parts of the brain were more developed, might have been able to encode a long-term memory of an event you simply couldn't. It's like they were recording in HD while you were still on a fuzzy black and white camera. Furthermore, their memory of the event may influence yours. Psychologists call this memory contagion, where one person's memory can implant a false memory into someone else's mind. Your sibling tells you a story so many times that you start to remember it, even though you were too young to have truly experienced it. That memory of the family dog chasing you around the yard? Yeah, it might not even be yours. It's a shared hallucination crafted by your sibling's more advanced memory-forming brain. Number 4. Why your brain doesn't speak baby. Imagine trying to save a document in a file format that hasn't been invented yet. That's what your brain was doing in those first few years. Long-term memory is fundamentally tied to language. We use words to structure thoughts, create narratives, and organize memories. A 2-year-old with a limited vocabulary and no grammar cannot create a coherent narrative of their life. Their brain can only store raw, unstructured sensory data, a flash of green, the feel of fur, a quick burst of joy. Without language to bind these experiences together, they remain isolated data points. As your language skills develop, your brain forms new memories in a new, more efficient format, but it can't retroactively resave the old ones. Those early memories are stuck in a format incompatible with your adult brain, locked away in a file corrupted by time and lost to a language you no longer speak. Number 3. Your body was a stranger. Try remembering how it felt when you were learning to walk. The weird sensation of legs moving in uncoordinated ways, the wobbly balance, the constant falling. You can't, because you didn't yet have a coherent sense of self, a body image, or a physical identity. As a baby, your body was just a collection of sensations. A hand, a foot, a head. The different parts weren't connected in your brain's blueprint. This lack of a physical narrative is a huge reason for infantile amnesia. Your brain can't form a long-term memory of an action if it doesn't have a clear map of the body performing it. The memory of walking, for instance, isn't just visual. It's physical, tied to proprioception, the sense of where your body parts are in space. But a baby's brain was still building this map from scratch. While you were busy figuring out which limb belonged to you, your brain was a blank slate for anything but the most basic sensory inputs. Number 2. The ultimate mind-body disconnect. Ever tried to describe a taste to someone? You can say sweet, salty, or sour, but you can't truly convey the experience. Now imagine that for every single one of your senses. As a baby, your brain was an unfiltered receiver of pure sensory input. No categories, no folders, no labels, just raw data flooding in. Without that framework, your brain couldn't tie sensations to a narrative. You might have a faint, subconscious memory of a smell or sound, but you can't remember where it came from. Your brain received it, processed it momentarily, then discarded it like an unmarked file. It's a permanent disconnect between mind and early sensory experience, a phantom limb of memory you can sense but never see. Number 1. The final illusion. Here's the kicker. The you that exists now didn't exist back then. That sense of a singular, continuous self, a coherent personality with a history and a future, is a story your brain weaves to make sense of the chaos. But that story didn't start at birth. It was gradually built around age 3 or 4. Before that, your brain was a chaotic committee of impulses, emotions, and raw sensory inputs. The you know is the final product of that messy board meeting. Since that conscious self didn't exist as a baby, your mind can't retrieve memories belonging to a person who wasn't you. Your earliest years? Written by a stranger, locked away, and cleverly hidden behind the ultimate psychological illusion your brain ever pulled.